I find it very interesting that the first three speakers, you guys are doing the Lord's work, right? Yeah. We're not. We're not. I'm not saying it's the opposite of the Lord's work, but it ain't the Lord's work. Let's face it. John Kimber and I met, July of 2011. Quick background, I'm an alcohol beverage guy. Been doing this since I was 21 years old, and John is a sweet potato guy. And it's just a marriage that was made at a Starbucks in Raleigh. Yeah.
Can you make vodka out of sweet potatoes?
Yeah.
Well, who in the heck would want to do that? It was the start of the conversation. It's led to,
Yeah.
So I guess the answer was yes, right?
Because the vodka business is a lot of branding. Most people that drink vodka, they have no idea what is the product that made that vodka. In this country, a lot from corn. From Europe, a lot from wheat. In Russia, beets and potatoes and things like that. But over the past few years, we're getting a little bit away from all the hype and flash and pretty bottles and famous stars and all that sort of thing. And people are becoming more concerned about what they are drinking. What is it that made this whiskey or gin or vodka? And we just thought it would be a cool thing to make vodka out of North Carolina grown sweet potatoes.
Well, and you may all know this, but North Carolina is the largest grower of sweet potatoes in the U.S. Grows about half the U.S. usage of sweet potatoes each year right here in this state, mostly in eastern North Carolina. East of I-95. And a lot of those potatoes, and we'll advance the slide, how would you put it? They ain't purty enough to go to Harris Teeter, as some of these would indicate. But they're fully nutritious. They're completely good for you. You just need to look for another way of finding that value. You make a nice looking mash out of it, and and there's the other slides that you may have seen real quickly, but we'll show you.
You want me to change
one more? Just so you can make a mash and then ferment it, and it's a capital-intensive but simple process. I guess
the chemistry is very simple.
Yeah.
If you can boil water, you can literally make distilled spirits. That's why the moonshiners have been doing it without a brain, out in the woods for many years. But the chemistry is very simple on this. We won't get into that too much, but we are 100% made from North Carolina grown sweet potatoes. And it takes about, this is not sweet potatoes in here, but it takes about a 20-pound batch of sweet potatoes to make one bottle of this. So we like to say, sweet potatoes are healthy. No doubt. So we have a little bit of a healthy halo on top of our product. And we are, and as you may know, sweet potatoes are gluten-free, right? Okay, and we are made in America, 100% made in North Carolina. So we are what we call gluten-free and Putin-free. Okay, gluten-free and Putin-free, right? So we have a lot. We try to have some fun with this as well. Again, we ain't doing the Lord's work here, right? We do come in 3 different sizes. We've got a half-gallon size, our 750 size. We have an airline bottle, which everybody today is leaving with an airline bottle.
Anybody that's over 21. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And we would encourage you to, use this as a sample to taste, but, the real objective here is we'd love you to be a regular customer.
Did we leave some coupons back there?
We did leave
We
some
left coupons back there.
So if you're first in line, there's a $5 off coupon on your next purchase. So, and hey, that's what we're all about.
Here's our team. You see John Kimber over here, myself. Well, this is Jimmy Birch, and behind him is Bobby Ham. And those are the 2 of the largest sweet potato growers in North Carolina. Bobby Ham, I think it's 100% of his business. He may grow I think he grows tobacco with it as well. And Jimmy Birch in Faison County, or Sampson County out in Faison, he grows a lot of greens, but sweet potatoes are, I think, the vast majority of his crop as well.
The 4 of us compose the partners that are involved in Covington. The other 2 gentlemen are with the North Carolina ABC system, or were formerly. Both have since retired actually from the time of that photo, but
Yeah, exactly.
And literally, this was the former governor of the state, Jim Gardner, that came back as the commissioner of the ABC system, and he had never visited a distillery, but being from Nash County and knowing agriculture, he was enamored with what we were doing, and we were relatively new at that point. And so we were the first distillery he visited. We were, kind of point of pride for us.
Yeah.
And
our latest product, other than you can find this in all the ABC stores, we did come out with a new product. You drink Bloody Mary. Anybody like Bloody Marys in here? Well, you can now buy a North Carolina-made Bloody Mary mix, partially from sweet potatoes and mostly from tomato juice or tomato puree. But we named it Maters and Taters Bloody Mary Mix. So this is a brand new product, North Carolina-made. Won't find it in the stores just yet. In the supermarkets, it will be at the ABC stores connected to a bottle of this right here. So we're going to be, you buy a bottle of this, you get a free bottle of Maters and Taters Bloody Mary Mix. So we're trying to do the Lord's work.
there you go.
Okay. Questions, I guess. Yes, sir.
How much is that particular bottle?
How much is this? You know what? We just talked about on the way down here. We're really thinking about going to the farmer's market, and we're an approved vendor to sell this at the farmer's market in Raleigh. I think we're going to try to get $5 a bottle for it.
There's no alcohol in this.
I'm sorry.
I meant actually that particular.
It's yours, man. Take it. Take it. Take it. Oh, here, you can take that one too. Go.
And I want to point out that
That's why he sits up.
see, it's even got a little vignette about that one's got a little vignette about Jimbo on the back of it.
We always say we got lots of problems, but vodka ain't one of them.
Yeah,
So
and sweet potatoes.
there you go. Enjoy it. Yeah, this one's empty, so no one else gets any. Yes, ma'am.
It calls up and solution to all.
Sweet potato farmers, are they under contract and does every farmer grow the same flavor of potato?
This, John, you're Mr. Sweet Potato here.
In North Carolina, probably 85 or so % of the crop is a variety, coincidentally, not so coincidentally, called Covington. Covington is a varietal that was developed by North Carolina State that is adapted well to the soil in North Carolina. And one of its primary reasons for growing is, you remember that array of potatoes of a lot of different sizes? Well, this one is a little more conforming to a minimum norm. I mean, in other words, it has a little more size uniformity. But even with that, nevertheless, Dr. Henry Covington was kind of an inspiration to us in the sweet potato business, so we adapted his name. I'm drifting from your question, but Covington is the primary variety grown in the state, but there are other varieties of both orange sweet potatoes as well as a variety of purple potatoes, as well as some that have very light skin that tend to go for the Asian and Hispanic markets. And so, so there's a lot of variety. There's over 300 and some odd sweet potato growers in the state that grow an acre or more, and they are all geared to trying to meet market need. You might not know it right now, and it drifts away from this, but it talks about sweet potatoes. 20-some %, 20 to 25% of the crop that's grown here in North Carolina goes to Europe. And if it wasn't for Europe, we'd probably be swimming in sweet potatoes around here. But and so that it's the business. North Carolina farmers have been extremely innovative about where they're going, and that's not been by their own hand alone. They've gotten a lot of help from the Department of Agriculture and NC State University, et cetera. So I hope that addresses your question.
But
I don't think it did, John. Hold on.
are they mixing all of these different varieties
To make Covington vodka?
No.
to keep a batch the same each time?
That's a good question. The answer is we grow Covington varietal sweet potatoes. Okay? There are going to be lots of different sizes and shapes, but no, we're not mixing Beauregards and Jules and others. We're not. 100% 100% Covington.
Yes.
Can you talk about how NCDA helped you, the North Carolina?
Yeah. I'll. We'll,
That's a good one.
well,
it's probably very appropriate for
actually, NCDA and USDA, and we'll get to that in just a moment. If I can defer the question for a moment, have we been successful? Who knows? I mean, we're in our 5th year in business.
I think we made $1.50 last month.
Hey, there you go. And this is a highly competitive business we're in. And as Jim pointed out earlier, it's highly focused on marketing, establishing brand presence. So in other words, it's heavily front-loaded with expenses to get people to recognize your name, hopefully connect the name with a desire to buy. So it's a day-to-day, ongoing effort to try to connect. This is a product people can live without, by and large. I mean, we're not trying to, create alcohol dependency, but whereas, so it's a struggle for market share, and we're doing okay. We'd certainly like to do a lot better. So I guess that's a nuanced answer to have we been successful. Now, back to your the second part of your question here is who has helped us. Certainly the Department of Agriculture, the NC Department of Agriculture has been a help in the sense that they have tried doing some marketing and have done some marketing efforts behind the craft distilling movement that takes place in North Carolina. When Covington came along, we were the 13th distillery to get established in North Carolina doing as a non-major brand, as a craft distiller, 13th. And we thought that was a plenty, and today there's about 60 with 9 more on the drawing board. So soon we'll be, the better part of 100 local distillers within the state of North Carolina. Talk about competition. So the Department of Agriculture has been helpful to all distillers by kind of helping to lift awareness around North Carolina distilled products to help people understand the distinctions and differences between vodka made from sweet potatoes and gin made by another company, et cetera. So the other partner that we've had that's helped us has been the USDA. We have had, being that we're in part, greatly part owned by growers, we were eligible for some cost share grants, 50-50 cost share grants under the Value Added Producers Grant, which has assisted us with feasibility studies and with some marketing efforts on this. But those are kind of one-time events; they're not ongoing. So any event. So it's been. We continue to look for opportunities, and so if any of you are funders in the room,
This is Shark Tank.
Yeah,
She said it. I heard her say it. Shark Tank.
We're here to pitch our wares to you. Yeah. Now, on the lessons we've learned, and literally it was a lesson to stay local. We're focused on developing a brand here in the state of North Carolina. Yes, this product is available through e-commerce. That's another whole story outside the state. So we have strived hard to stay focused on trying to have this brand do better at the ABC stores, have it do better at restaurants and locales known to you and frequented by you. So we stay focused on this. A big one for us is cost control. I mean, we need to worry about how much a cap costs, a bottle costs, et cetera. It's like any business. Cost control is king. We're striving to be innovative around how we approach the brand, and I guess the last part is, like with any successful business, you got to be involved and thrilled about what you're doing, and hopefully believing in what you're doing. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we're doing.
Another question here.
I just wanted to know if the Maters and Taters were those North Carolina ingredients locally sourced as well?
It's definitely North Carolina sweet potato,
Yeah.
because the puree came from our distillery sister company, Yamco. And the tomatoes, they go into the puree to make that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes because I put "got to be NC" on the label already. But probably it's a North Carolina bottling company out in Lewisburg. Bobby's Bottling is our co-packer on that one. We do everything vodka related in house. We handle everything from soup to nuts. But we don't have a.
And I guess the other question, just always encouraging that. But
Yeah.
we've talked a lot in Eastern North Carolina about the bigger ag industries supporting these local food movements and that vertical integration piece. So you guys are, an excellent example of that using the sweet potato model. And, maybe question, but, or either way, is the sweet potato industry has that ability to help that local food movement and those small farmers, the next generation farmers, that mentoring and everything else, and make that happen. I think that can happen in any of the large ag sectors, and, you know,
Agreed.
anything that you can do to encourage them, especially in that value-added processing, helping smaller farmers have access to food processing, you know, making whatever, sweet potatoes into sweet potato fries.
Sure.
Or alcohol.
You bring
It's
up a
our
good-
state
you bring-
vegetable.
yeah,
It
you
is
bring
our
up-
state.
you-
Right.
Yep.
You bring up a good point, and we could dwell on this for quite a while. And I'll just try to be concise in this. But Jim indicated that I had had an involvement with the sweet potato industry. My role with them, which spanned from about 2002 onward, was aimed at trying to explore some of these value-added opportunities. Not just where do you go sell more fresh sweet potatoes, but where are some of the value-added opportunities. And one of my initial larger frustrations was the absence of infrastructure in the state that could carry an idea into a finished product that you could put on a supermarket shelf. And that has changed somewhat, not to the degree that it is in other states. You go to some other states, and we could name a number of them, they've got a superb infrastructure that allows everything from test kitchen stuff to go to supermarket, literally. And this is the crying shame of this. When back in 2000, 2003, we introduced a sweet potato casserole that still is on some supermarkets in the state here. I had to go to Arkansas to get it produced and packaged. Now, what was the give me for North Carolina? I insisted that they transport North Carolina sweet potatoes to Arkansas to process and make this stuff, but you raise a very good point. And it's long-term. North Carolina has made progress on this over this time period, but much more progress can be made as far as trying to have that infrastructure that allows a grower or grower organizations outlets for their products beyond just the local supermarket for the fresh product. I mean, there is growing need for value-added product creation, marketing, et cetera. Into my sermon. I'll get off the pedestal now.
Let's talk more about that offline.
Yeah, I mean, it's a.
That's the key to the local food movement
Yep.
in my mind, and I think a lot of other people, for North Carolina to compete in the 21st century over the next 50 to 100 years. That's
Well,
play is that infrastructure development.
you know, and
We're in the process right now of seeing North Carolina State University. We made our first batch of vodka at Michigan State University because they happen to have a distillery curriculum, a winemaking, beer making, and distillery curriculum. And like John said, with all the distilleries popping up in North Carolina, and there's 200 wineries, over 200 wineries in the state. And I think the NC State has some level of winemaking going on there, a little bit of beer making too, but we're trying to get them into the distillery business now. So that's just very, very early
educational
stages.
perspective.
From Appalachian State University?
I haven't. Do they have something going?
I believe they do.
Yeah. Now that you mention that, I think I have heard something about that. It makes sense too.
Great school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, makes.
Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College has a fermentation program, a 2-year fermentation program.
Yeah, that's great.
For Inca campus, and it's the only one in the country.
There you go.
You get associate's degree in fermentation.
There you go. That's all you need.
Right. All right, we're gonna wrap up this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right?